Hey guys, Kev here, and I wanted to talk about the Urban EDC Barley. So this is a Divo knives design and a Urban EDC knife. So if you have ever seen the Urban EDC F5.5 or Baby Barlow, sorry, it would be like that, where we designed it, but it's their knife, and that's just how it goes, right? So it's basically, we licensed it to Urban EDC. It's our first time doing that, and there was a pre-order for this that I think it was about a year ago or so, and those have all shipped. I think it was about a month ago, those all shipped and delivered, and they're now doing a drop for the remaining pieces. And that is tomorrow, September 4th. And that'll be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific. That is the usual Urban EDC drop time. And I just want to go over the three versions and give you all the details I can right now. All the people that have gotten the pre-orders that have given me feedback have said they love it. We've had a couple requests for a clip. But other than that, basically been really positive feedback, so we're really happy with that. I did talk to Urban EDC before making this video so I could get pricing and details. They did tell me the stock is very limited on these. There's less than 40 left. So if you are looking to pick one of these up, I would suggest grabbing it tomorrow on the drop. But who knows? I don't know how long they'll last, but there's about 40, a little less than 40 left of the Barleys. So we have a bead blasted titanium version, and this has M390 steel. This one right here has a belt satin finish. So you have a Riot belt satin with a horizontal horizontal on the flats. Really nice traditional belt satin finish you'd see from Riot. Riot is the OEM. They don't always state that. I'm not sure what the deal is there, but I can pretty much tell you it's Riot. They just might not list it. So I really love this knife. The concept for this knife came from when I had the tactile knives Bear, the B-E-X-A-R. Some people call it the Bexer. It is the Bear, that's how you pronounce it. It is a slip joint that Tactile Knife Co. released a few years ago, and it was an ultra thin slip joint design. Now, it was a clip point, and that's one thing I didn't love about it. But I loved how thin it was. It was one of those things that just really struck me. And when we first started designing some new knives for Divo, you know, we had released the Stout and we were really happy with it, but we kind of started designing new stuff right away. And I drew this up on a piece of paper, which is how my designs start. And then they go to my business partner, Colin. You guys should know Colin by now. Colin Mason Pierre, CM_knife designs. He's the real designer in the company, right? So I sent him the drawing, and I basically drew the basic outline of this knife here. I don't think the choil was here. And Colin took it, and he created a real knife, a beautiful knife. Designed the internals, designed the tang corners so that you get that really good walk and talk. We did get some advice from our buddy Ben over at Jack Wolf Knives. So if you guys like a Jack Wolf knife, this has similar geometry to it in terms of the walk and talk, the tang corners. Now this does have a stop pin construction. So in order to help it from hitting the spring, it has a stop pin in there, where a Jack Wolf does not. A Jack Wolf has a kick. I actually have one here, I'll show you. This is my Venom Jack from the last drop. And this has what you call a kick. So you see this piece right here, it sits up a little bit higher than the edge. And what happens is that piece hits the bottom of the spring, and it keeps the blade off of the spring. And it's a very important part of the design, because if you get that wrong, your blade's going to smack the bottom of the spring, and of course, you know, cause blade wrap, mess up your edge, all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those tricky things with slip joints that some makers, you know, choose to try to do because it's traditional. And the other reason is acoustically, you get a nice acoustic when it closes, where you get a really good one from open to half stop on a stop pin style slip joint. But when you close, kind of gives that thwack. This sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. That thwacks a little bit, where this has that nice click as well. So that's kind of the difference. Now, the one downside with that style, I'm trying to get this back in the slip properly. The one downside with that style is you can't really do a finger choil unless you put the choil way after the kick area. So I'll show you an example. Now, this does have a stop pin, but this is designed after a, I guess, traditional knife that has a finger choil. They have to put the full choil in the blade, essentially. And there you go. You can get these huge choils. They just look kind of ridiculous, to be honest. And I don't know exactly how the kick works. Now, maybe this doesn't matter. It doesn't have one. It would maybe have a piece that juts up here, or maybe you use that corner of the edge somehow. I don't know. I don't have an example to really show that. But that's why on a traditional slip joint, you don't really see a choil like this, a forward finger choil like this. This is a 50-50 choil, we call it. I mean, I guess it's more like 3/4, 1/4, but whatever. But it's more integrated into the design, into the handle, so it doesn't look kind of ridiculous like that does, even though that's cool. So here you have a forward finger choil, and that's one of the reasons the stop pin is useful, because you don't have any problems because of the, you don't have to worry about the kick being there. Now, the forward finger choil was added by, I believe Colin added it in the design phase. And when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, dude, that's genius. Thank you for adding that. It's so smart, because when you're gripping this knife, you can use it and cut with it pretty freely without worrying too much about closing it on yourself. That's one of the biggest risks with a slip joint, right? If you take a slip joint and you have one without a choil and you're up on it, my first instinct is always to put my finger up on the spine, because that's just how I always cut. I'm so used to locking knives. But with a slip joint, you really want to stay back here where you can't put pressure up here. You want to stay away from anything that's going to put pressure up here, because this can obviously move. And if you have your thumb back here and you're pushing a lot of pressure through a cut, like let's say you're cutting through a thick piece of cardboard, you come through, as soon as you pop out of that cut, if you're not paying attention, you can pop out of the cut, and if you keep that pressure on, because you need that pressure to keep the blade moving, and then you come out of that cut, what happens is you push your thumb forward and the blade closes and it's sitting inside of your finger, right? That's why people tell you to, think about safety with the slip joint, not to put your thumb behind the spine. But with this knife, you really have an added safety feature. Now, I like to call it a built-in safety feature, but I also don't want to go telling people to be reckless, because you probably could figure out a way to hurt yourself with this, right? But it is more safe, I would say, than a traditional slip joint, because your finger is in the choil, which is partly in the blade and partly in the handle. So what happens is you can't really close this on yourself. Your finger is in the way. So I've demonstrated this in videos. I don't know if I have a saved video. If I do, I'll add it to this. Hey guys, Kev here, and I wanted to just show you how fun it can be to cut with the Urban EDC Barley. So we have a really nice walk and talk on this here slip joint. But you also have a finger choil. So you can choke up, which means it is much safer than a traditional slip joint, because even if you put pressure on the spine, it is very hard to close it on yourself. Now, you still want to practice safety, but it is safer in a sense. So there's that. And then you have a blade stock of 0.9 inches, 0.09 inches. I always mix that up. It's very thin, is what I'm trying to say. Very well done flat grind. Pretty tall blade. So it's gonna cut through whatever I need. But the nice thing is I can kind of put my thumb up here and I'm not too worried about it. Right? Even if I push through this cut and I come out of it and I accidentally push forward, I'm holding that blade open with my finger here. So it makes it a lot easier. Now, you can just stay back here and utilize it like a traditional slip joint if you want to do that and be safer. But I've cut a lot with this knife and I've had no issue with it. This stuff is tough, whatever it is. But as you can see, it is no match for the Barley. So you can also use this. Now you gotta be a little safer because I'm off the choil now. But you can stab through, and now I can put my finger in that choil and cut down, right? So very useful slip joint, and that is the Urban EDC Barley. Peace. But essentially you can come through a cut, it doesn't matter, because if I push through here, my finger is blocking that. You would have to do something, I mean, really crazy to hurt yourself with this knife. So it's just a nice little feature. And I think for people who are not slip joint aficionados, which I'm not like a traditional slip joint aficionado. I do love slip joints. I have many Jack Wolf knives in particular, but I have other kinds as well. One of my favorites actually is an Urban EDC exclusive from Jacob Lundquist design. This is his Vanish model. And he actually did the milling of this Sagaha pattern into the handle. Very cool. Love this slip joint. I also have one that I'll hopefully be doing a video on soon. This is an American-made one. American Bladeworks slip joint. Hopefully should be coming in the near future. Can't wait to talk about that. But yeah, so it's just really nice not to have to worry about it. So that's kind of the choil situation. The thinness, that was kind of the inspiration for this, the Tactile Bear, like I said. That knife is 0.27 thick, 0.27 inches thick, which is crazy thin. And I feel like it's almost too thin. It's so thin to the point that the spring, the titanium, there's not enough there to really give you good stability. This isn't a tank. There's no blade play or anything. If you get one of those Tactile Bears, you'll see there's tons of play, there's gapping, there's all types of issues with it. But it's a cool concept. So we did beef this up a bit more from that. This is 0.32. So not much, but enough to make it very stable. So it's really constructed well by Riot. They did a great job. Centering is dead on. There's a little lanyard pin back here. Nice spring, which is flush in all three positions. Really well done. There's a long pull on both sides for lefties and righties, of course. No clip. If we do another run, if these sell well, you know, we'll think about, you know, maybe doing some with a clip or something like that. So if you're interested in that, support it, and that would help. So that's the raw titanium version, or bead blasted tie version with belt satin. This one's going to be $2.99 on their drop. So for pre-order, they were a little less, but you know, that's kind of how it goes. Once they're in the price goes up, that gives the people who pre-ordered a little bit of an incentive and a reason to wait, you know. So $2.99 on this. And then these two versions with the Sagaha pattern are $3.19. Okay, so again, centered. This is blue titanium, blue anodized titanium with a beautiful Sagaha pattern on it. Really love how that looks. And again, just wonderful walk and talk. I'd put the pull around a 6, 6.5. Not too strong, but not weak. It feels perfect, honestly. It's got the perfect pull on it. Again, you have a beautiful belt satin with horizontal flats on this version. Satin hardware and spring on both of these. Really gorgeous knife. I love all three of these. It's got a nice hop to that half stop. I love to see that when a blade kind of jumps and then kind of gives a little wiggle. Again, stupid thin. I believe the blade stock is 0.09 of an inch, so very thin. It is flat ground, but that makes it super slicey. You know, a hollow grind would have been just, I think, too thin on this. This is extremely slicey, yet it has enough meat behind it that, you know, you're not going to feel like it's going to break on you. Because if it was a hollow grind, it would be stupid thin. I mean, look how thin that is with the flat, right? This is a PVD handle. So PVD titanium with Sagaha pattern on it, satin hardware and spring and lanyard pin. And then you have an acid washed M390 blade. These are all M390 steel from Riot, which I believe is listed around 60 to 62. I've heard pretty good things about Riot's M390, so they might be one of the companies I actually trust with it. I normally don't love M390, but again, this is not our knife, so, you know, we don't make all the decisions. Really nice look on this acid wash. And again, good walk and talk. This one's a little bit softer acoustically. I have noticed that in general with slip joints that are coated in any way. So a satin stone wash, something like that, is always going to have a little bit of a louder acoustic than a coated black wash, acid wash, whatever blade. But this is beautiful. Really like how this looks. Comfortable in hand. Yeah. So these are the Urban EDC Barleys. Again, they're going to be available tomorrow, September 4th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific on the Urban EDC drop. I did want to just show you the slip I had made for this. This was made by Troy over at Northwoodsleatherworksco. I was hoping that there would be sort of a custom run with the knives, but you know, that didn't work out, but you never know, you might be able to get one of these, or you can always have somebody else make a slip, but it looks really good. And the most important thing that I wanted to show you was how thin this is. You know, a lot of times people don't like a slip because they're worried about making the knife thicker. This knife is so thin at 0.32 that it's kind of ridiculous. Even with a slip on it, I bet you it's going to be thinner than your average knife. Yeah, 0.42 with the slip. It just disappears into your pocket. Sometimes when I carry one of these, I don't even, you know, at the end of the day, I'm like getting stuff out of my pocket. I don't even realize I had this in my pocket all day. Just really, really nice for EDC. Clean design, really simple in a way too. That's one thing we really appreciated about working with Urban EDC on this. They are, you know, they have sort of a classy, just simplistic look to their stuff, where, you know, we tend to go for carbon fibers and flashy stuff like 80s and inlays and all that kind of stuff. This is pretty simple, but in a good way, you know? And the execution is phenomenal. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you pick one up, let me know. I am going to put a link down below. I do have a affiliate link to Urban EDC. I might as well drop that down below. If any of you guys pick one of these up, you could use that. And yeah, that is it. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'll try to get them answered for you today. And I love you guys. I hope you have an absolute... Oh, you know what? One other thing. This is the... This is the packaging. So you get a nice box. Looks like they have a new box for their exclusive products. UrbanEDC.com. Nice foam cutout. Fits in there nicely. Does not come with a slip, so keep that in mind. If you require a slip, you'll want to pick one up or have one made. But very cool. Like you can see that subtle Sagaha pattern on the sides. Really nice. So that's the packaging. I thought you might want to see that. That's it. I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. Appreciate you all, and catch you later. Peace.